Now, some of you have told me, hey, why did you wear your glasses on that one video? Truth be told, I'm supposed to be wearing glasses all the time. You see, when I was younger, this is a bit about me before we do the book review. Um, I scratched my right cornea and I caused myself never to be able to wear contacts again. I take pictures without my glasses on because I dislike them strongly, and I wish that I could go that way without glasses, but I'm old, okay? I'm never going to be a freaking beauty queen. So from now on, I'm going to realize my age and realize not to put strain on the old eyes because that causes headaches, and then I have to rely on the tension headache to get me out of the trouble that I caused myself. So tonight, forgive me, but this old woman is going to put her glasses on to read the book review and the little various parts of the book with you. So after 4 days of no communication between Devin and Liberty, our two main characters, Devin decides he can't take being away from Liberty one more second. While having a girls' night out, he shows up, says he's been missing her. He wants more time with her. She is like, we were together for 3 months before this 10-day break. Isn't that enough? She thinks they need time apart to put their relationship in perspective. He doesn't want that. He wants more couple time. Now here, she's kind of scared to let him in, and he's wanting to be let in, but I don't think he's ready for the commitment that he's about to make. He then says, I have 50 acres, so no neighbors, and a close closet full of firearms. She slowly gives in to this cabin suggestion. One of the girls from the girls' night out party, her sister attended this party, says to Devin that it's obvious they're a couple. Devin doesn't really confirm, nor does he deny. So the woman gives him a piece of advice. A good woman who sees you, not just your fame and fortune, is worth more than her weight in gold. Devin assures Ms. Maybell that he knows this, and he just needs to make sure that Liberty knows this. Now we're going to start reading from the actual book. Says Donna, go to page 433. Okay, hold on. 433. I'm looking for 433. Where is it? There it is. Okay. No particular spot, so... Okay, she's gotten shot trying to protect Devin because we find out that his former bus driver was the one who riddled the bus. Remember, he had all that gun work, and that's the whole reason of her purpose to be around him. Originally, she was hired to be his bodyguard. Okay. And the final performance of Devin McClain's 4-month-long Heroes and Heartbreakers tour had arrived. Liberty would be intimately familiar with the term heartbreaker at the end of the night. The late afternoon sun shone through the skylight above Devin's bed, sending sunbeams across his skin. They spent that last hour in bed. That first time had been so fast. We're not going to say what they were doing. They were spending mature adult time together. Now he's talking about the scar. And it's been a week, but sometimes I can't believe you got shot. I'm happy there was no muscle damage. Me too, but you still have a scar. It'll match my others. Liberty. I'm not being flip. She looked at his fingers gently stroking the inside of her arm. Now I'm officially 2 for 2. Meaning what? The ambassador I saved, first and last security assignment, but I thought my security specialist skills Garrett brags about were securing transport trucks, not people. That tears it. I'm going to demand my money back for false advertising, Devin drawled. Liberty smiled. Too late, and now, with my very first private security job, I will end up with another damn bullet hole. It's enough to put a girl off bodyguard jobs for good. The instant she said it, she wished she hadn't. So ditch your working for GSC and come to work for me full time. You can handle security for my tours. He smoothed his hand over her shoulder, then curled it around her neck. Although you never want to talk about this, you know I don't want this to be an ending. Let's make it a beginning. Devin, hear me out. I need a security coordinator. You are the very best I've ever had. You could run your own business, set your own hours. We'd be together on the bus during tours, and the rest of the time we can live at my place in Nashville. We could be out as a couple everywhere. The way he phrased it sounded perfectly logical, but not for her. That was page 432, 43. Here's 434, 435. Didn't he see that? How could he not realize that she'd suffocate in that no-purpose role? She'd never fit in his lifestyle. She needed something for herself beyond seeing to his needs. But doesn't he see to yours, she's thinking, in ways that you never imagined any man would? Yes, but still Liberty had known their relationship would end when the tour did. Despite all of the Devon's hints that he wanted to continue, she could tell herself that she had meant to fall in love with him, but from the moment he hauled her out of bed and comforted her that night she had a nightmare, she realized that she was falling for him, and it was inevitable. So her options were to end this with a big fight, or nod of head, play along with his delusions of their togetherness, and then leave him like he planned. Shame on you. Act like a soldier, not a coward running away again, and face this thing head on. At least a fight would allow her to tell him exactly why they wouldn't work. It would hurt him, something she didn't relish doing, but she wanted a clean break, not a cruel break, which is why she'd never tell him about the $100,000 bonus she earned for staying with him on the tour. Walking away from him would be hard, but she would survive. She always did. So why was she crying just thinking about it? Darling, what's wrong? She rolled to her side of the bed and started putting on her clothes. Liberty, say something. Inhaling a deep breath, she turned around and said, No. No what? You don't want to say something? While I appreciate the offer, no, I won't be handling your security on a permanent basis. Devon shifted to his side of the bed and pulled on his clothing. Then they faced each other in the middle of the room, ready for battle. What don't you understand? I love you. I want a life with you. Stop. Your declarations are just making this harder. This will never work. Why not? Because we don't want the same things? You don't want a man who loves you more than he ever thought he was capable? You don't want him to make a home with me and make maybe a couple of children? She wiped her eyes, but the tears kept coming. Don't be stupid. Of course I want that. The problem is I can't have that with you. Why not? Because I love my job, and the job is in Denver. I'm finally good in a place where I can have a home of my own, something I've never had. I lived the nomadic lifestyle my entire life, Devon, first growing up and then in the military. I'm 35 years old, and for the first time I'm putting down roots. Can you really see me in your life, Devon, at some fancy recorded label party? I'll never be that polished type of woman you need on your arm. And can you imagine the looks of horror if you told them that I ran your security? It brings us right back to the issue that you had since day one of this tour. Don't go there, he warned. That was 434, 435. Here's 436 and 437. I have to. You don't want anyone thinking that you've got a woman protecting you. I won't let you be the butt end of the jokes in the industry where you work so effing hard to earn respect. I've worked hard to earn respect too, and I'm not walking away from something that is more than a job, that it's my career. There was only about 10 feet between them in the room, but it might as well have been about 10 miles. A lifetime of silence hung between them. You never saw this ending any other way, did you? He said softly. She shook her head. And I fell in love with you anyway. That is exactly why we can make this work. We have to at least try. Fine, let's compare schedules. I'm on a training in the field for a month, and after I return to Denver, it's not a Monday to Friday with weekends off kind of job. It's whenever and wherever Garrett needs me to train, so I have no idea when I'll be around. You plan to sit in my apartment and wait for me to get home? He scowled. Oh, does that conflict with your schedule? Yes, and you damn well know it does. I booked studio time, and I'm playing at the Ryman. So you couldn't kill time waiting in Denver anyway. We're back to where we started, living our lives, but it's just not together. Devon shook his head. I can't accept that. Maybe next month won't work as far as we're seeing each other, but the next month after that it might, and the month after that. We can take it month by month. Who knows what'll happen next year? My career might tank, and no one will schedule me to play anywhere, and you could get... She held up her hand. Please don't say I could get injured in the line of duty. But it happened to you twice, and it can happen again. He shoved his hand through his hair. I lived my life's worst nightmare when JT had a gun pointed at you. Here was the moment of truth. Do you wish that I hadn't had such a dangerous job? Honestly, yes. Then we're even, she said softly, because I see those hordes of women clamoring for you. And I wish you wouldn't step foot on that stage. But that's who you are, Devon. that's a big part of the man that I fell in love with. I never asked you to change who you are to be with me." He stared at her for a long. She wondered what the hell was going through his head, and I'd rather have a few sleepless nights worrying about you than demand that you change what I love and respect most about you. When Devin wrapped his arms around her, she knew that he finally understood. They clung to each other, neither one willing to be the first to break away. "I love you," he whispered. "That ain't ever going to change." "I know, and I love you too." Then in the most perfect synchronicity, they both stepped back. "Will you be at the show tonight?" "Wouldn't miss it for the world, since it's the first time I'll see it as a fan and not your bodyguard." "It's the same show. I'll see you at the after party. All the big-wig sponsors will be there. Your time will be at a premium." "That's not an answer." Liberty was hedging her because she already booked her ticket on the red-eye flight from LAX to Denver. She'd stay for the performance, but not the after party. It'd be easier if she didn't have to tell him she just wasn't there. "Are you doing anything new material tonight?" "Haven't decided. Crash is bugging me to do a couple of cover tunes to make the set just a little longer, so we'll see." He reached for her hand. "I've got to get to rehearsal. Go." Devin kissed her. It was a sweet melding of mouths that left her feeling breathless and even more broken-hearted. "So see you in a few hours." But as soon as he was out the door of the bus, she packed up. The band and the crowd were rowdy. More round up than any other night she'd seen him play. She chalked it up to being at the end of the tour. After playing all his big songs and a new one that Odette had written, the house lights went down. Devin situated himself on a stool, stage, and strummed the guitar. Then he adjusted the microphone and looked at the audience. "I'm doing something a little different tonight, so bear with me." He plucked a few more strings. Why did he look so nervous? That made her nervous in turn. "I've got a friend who's not a big fan of country music." Boos rang out. He laughed. "Now hold on, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, even if it's wrong." It seemed like everyone in the arena laughed at that. "It's tempting to take a pop song and countryfy it to prove that if a song is good it can be played country style." Leon did a traditional steel guitar riff, then Odette joined in on the fiddle and Steve on the drums. But some songs don't need extra flash. Some don't need to be countryfied. Some songs are best as if they are stripped down to basics, like this one. He bent his head so that his hat cut the glare of the stage lights. "This one is for you, Liberty." As soon as Devin hit this first chord progression, everything inside her tightened. And when he started the chorus of "She Will Be Loved" by Maroon 5, her tears fell without shame. She wrapped her arms around herself, keeping her eyes glued to the stage, letting Devin's beautiful, soulful voice fill with her. Even when it was breaking her into a million tiny pieces, there was a moment in stillness throughout the stadium when Devin finished. Then thunderous applause created a roar that moved through the building in a deafening wave. Even the people behind the scenes were abuzz, which makes it easier for Liberty to avoid everyone on Devin's crew and disappear into the night. That was 438 and 439 and 437. Okay, we're going to move ahead to page 465 where it says, "Thank you for..." Hold on. "The song, dedicating it to me that night. Maybe I ought to change the title to 'She Is Loved.' Or maybe you should change it to 'She is an idiot for running away from the man she loves and can't live without.'" That's a little long for a song title," he said dryly, "but I get the gist of what you're saying." "Good." She curled her hand around the back of his neck and brought his mouth down for a kiss. "Tell me what you're doing here." "After you left, I returned to Nashville. I lasted there less than 24 hours before I flew out to Denver. I've been thinking nonstop about some of what you said and some of what Crash said, so I nutted up, rented a car, and drove to the sister's place in Laramie. Then I spent the day with my folks. As much as she hated that he'd had to face this alone, she was glad he'd done it. How'd that go?" "Better than I expected. I took the first step, and they were even more willing to meet me halfway, so I thought, what the heck? I'd try to do the same approach with you." He gave a soft, embarrassed laugh. "What?" "Last night I sat outside your apartment for an hour, working up the courage to knock on your door, rehearsing what I needed to say to you. Then an alert sounded on my phone, and I saw a picture with someone had taken of me in China at an after-party in L.A. I saw the picture online. Nothing happened between us. You believe me, right?" Liberty nodded. "I was ticked. but mostly ticked at myself because I had no right to be so insanely jealous since I left you, and I had to resort to cyberstalking you. So I have to ask again, why are you here? I called Garrett to see if I could surprise you at work, and he said you had the week off to the house hunt. He gave me the realtor's name. I contacted her. He stepped back and spread his arms out. This place is great, isn't it? Yes, but it's outside my price range. That 100K bonus you got for lasting the whole tour with me doesn't knock it down to reasonable mortgage for you? Her jaw dropped. The heat flushed in her cheeks. You knew about that? Not until Carl got drunk at the after party and told me. He looked at her. You thought I'd be upset when I found out, didn't you? I know you feel like a commodity and people don't see beyond that. I didn't want you to think that all I ever saw in you was dollar signs. Devin moved closer and twisted a section of her hair around his finger. But it was incentive for you to take the job, wasn't it? Yes, she locked her gaze to his. In one of the throne-sappy romantic movies, not only would I have not walked away from you, but I would have refused the money. Is that what you wanted from me? God, no, you earned that money. You more than earned it. Devin reached into his front pocket and retrieved a piece of paper. What's that? Your money, but Big Sky already sent me the check to GSC. This is in addition to that. Carl indicated that GSC hadn't negotiated for a higher bonus, and he was willing to pay you double for what you agreed to. So I forced his hand. Actually, I forced a checkbook into his hand, he grinned. The man shouldn't drink and start running his mouth because cash falls out of it. Anyway, the cash is yours. Garrett already approved it. Liberty squinted at the check and her eyes got wide. Another 100K? Yep, that ought to help you get the home of your dreams, but the reason I'm here is because I'm hoping that we'd look for a home of our dreams in Denver. You're moving here? Yes, but let's make this perfectly clear. I love you. I want to make a life together. I don't care where. I want to make a home with you that's not a damn tour bus or 1,500 miles away from our families. He touched her cheek. And on the road we start being an everyday part of each other's lives. I want that for a lot longer than 4 months, Liberty. I want that forever. Where is this man in real life? Sorry, just one of those moments. Damn it, she started to cry. Lord, woman, I don't know what to do with you with tears. You didn't cry this much after you were shot, he hauled her against him. But what about your life in Nashville? I don't have a life in Nashville. I have a house. No one ever said I have to live there. Sure, I'll be there from once in a while, but I don't need a big house I'm never in. I'll put my house on the market the day after I leave L.A. That was 466, 467. Here's 468. So you really do see us living together here. I know it's important for you to be buying this place by yourself, so I won't offer to buy it outright as a gift for you. Was this really happening? She could have Devin, and she could have this awesome condo. Hang on a second. Let me do a quick calculation. Devin snatched the sales sheet out of her hand. I'm not being flip when I'm saying I'm making a decision about our life together. It can't be about money. I'll match the amount of your bonus as a down payment, even if my name isn't on the mortgage. I'll pay half the utilities. Hell, I'll even take out the garbage. She laughed. There's something else you ought to know. What? A sheepish look crossed his face. I already bought the other unit on this floor and when it was for sale. Another jaw-dropping moment in a day filled with him. Why would you do that? Because I knew you would love this place. As your new neighbor, I plan to wear you down one way or another. Come over and borrow a cup of sugar. Be with you until you agree to be my woman forever. That sort of annoying neighbor thing. She laughed. So I'll live here and you'll live so you'll live there and I'll live here. He brought her against his body. No effing way will we ever be having separate houses. We'll live here because of my celebrity. I have a certain security requirement, and this building more than meets my safety standards and yours. I would imagine it would figure to be safer if we owned the whole floor. Really? You're playing the safety card now? He turned serious. I need somewhere private to work on my music, so part of the space of the studio plus the place we'll have for families and friends and bandmates to stay when they visit us. Devin rested his forehead on hers. I want our lives intertwined together on every level. So you know this isn't a temporary thing for me. I know I thought it was all too good to be true, so I didn't believe in it. In us. For that, I'm sorry. I love you, and we will make this work or die trying. He smiled. I have something to tell you, too. She tried to step back, but Devin wasn't having any of it. He kept them face to face. What? I had a talk with Garrett. I told him I didn't want you permanently upgraded to a full-time field work, which means what? No more being assigned to a bodyguard for anyone. Seriously? Seriously. Getting shot is not my idea of fun. That's what's happened twice now. So I'll be a supervisory and training role for GSC. Garrett is actually thrilled because he wanted to get back into the field and away from the desk. Devin frowned. You're taking desk duty? Baby, are you sure you want to do that? I'll still get to kick butt in the training room on a daily basis. You're making changes to be with me. It's only fair I meet you halfway. When I have the evaluation, I also plan on telling him that as long as you're still touring, I'll spend a month on the road with you. Liberty looked into his eyes, not as your bodyguard, but the woman who loves you and wants to take care of you. You'll be my permanent, my only groupie, otherwise known as my wife. He kissed her before his mouth could fall open, and there was a big step for a man who claimed he wasn't attracted to me. You're never going to let me live that down, or forget it, are you? Liberty twined her arms around him. Nope, but I'm sure that we'll be talking about it when we're old and gray. Baby, I can't wait. There's an epilogue, and I'm not going to read it for you. I want you to read it. And this book, 0 being not read it, 10 being read it, is the first 10 of 2021. You won't regret reading it. It's a roller coaster ride. Now, next up, I'm going to give you a little tease of the next book, which is Back to the Bedroom by Janet Ivankovich.